that DeWanna Bonner had no intentions on returning to the Indiana Fever, and then the news broke today that the Indiana Fever had indeed waived DeWanna Bonner. And here is DB's statement. She said, "I want to sincerely thank the Indiana Fever for the opportunity to be part of the Fever franchise. Despite our shared goals and excitement heading into the season, I felt the fit did not work out, and I appreciate the organization's willingness to grant my request to move on, particularly at this point in my career. I wish the Fever..."
It was supposed to be just another night in the Indiana Fever. Fans packed the stands expecting a strong showing, a spark, maybe even a moment of brilliance from one of the league's most iconic veterans. DeWanna Bonner had been in the league for over a decade, her resume glittering with all-star nods, rings, and countless clutch plays. And when she made the move to join the Indiana Fever, people said it was a power play. She'd be the experience, the anchor, the mentor this young roster needed. But last night didn't feel like leadership. Last night felt like betrayal.
You have people fearing the worst for her family. You have people fearing the worst for everything. You have people saying that they hope everything's good with DeWanna Bonner. It turns out she apparently is just pissed off that she wasn't starter.
The Fever's front court was already fragile.
From the opening tip, something was off. It wasn't just Bonner missing a few jumpers or turning the ball over on a lazy pass. That happens. No, this was different. It was the energy, the body language. She looked like she'd rather be anywhere else but on the court with her teammates. And believe me, the Fever noticed. The fans noticed. But no one noticed more than Aari McDonald. See, Aari's not one to talk a lot of trash, unless you give her a reason. And when she saw Bonner coasting on defense, half-heartedly jogging in transition, and barely communicating during timeouts, that was the green light. McDonald's eyes lit up like she had just sniffed out blood in the water. You could almost feel her switch flip. This wasn't just a regular game anymore. This was personal.
Boo people for less. I boo people for way less. Like if somebody played for my team, my favorite team, and they left after 9 to 10 games, wasn't a good fit. I'm sure she dealt with some shit. I'd feel the type of way her coming back into my house. That's just fandom, okay? So, again, open to constructive feedback.
And let's not forget, Aari isn't just some role player off the bench. She was the number 3 overall pick in the 2021 draft for a reason. She's quick, aggressive, and fearless. But tonight, it was like she had been waiting for this exact moment. The moment to expose a legend. And that's exactly what she did. First quarter, 7:18 on the clock. Fever trying to set up a high pick and roll with Bonner as the screener. McDonald calls it out, slides right under the screen, and pokes the ball loose from the point guard. Transition opportunity. And guess who's the only one back on defense? Yep, DeWanna Bonner. But she doesn't sprint. She kind of shuffles, like she's hoping Aari pulls it out or dishes it off. Big mistake. McDonald hits the gas, glides past her, and finishes with a reverse layup that gets the entire Mercury bench on their feet. Crowd goes silent. You could hear a pin drop. That was just the beginning. Next possession, Bonner tries to isolate on the wing. Classic post-up, right? She backs down her defender, turns, fades, clank, hits back iron. Aari grabs the rebound, and she doesn't hesitate. Sprints up the court, crosses over her defender, and pulls up from the elbow. Bucket. Quick 4-0 personal run. And she wasn't done. Because this wasn't just about points. This was about making a statement, about sending a message, about reminding people that respect isn't given, it's earned. And just because your jersey is hanging in someone else's rafters doesn't mean you get to coast on another team's dime.
I think that's sports, man. I'm gonna be booing people all the time. I love it. Ooh, I love booing.
This is the story we're being told is problematic.
Second quarter rolls around and now things are heating up. You can see the tension building. Fever players looking around like, why is Bonner not rotating? Coaches yelling, bench players frustrated, and the crowd slowly turning on what used to be their hero. And Aari? She's feeding off it. She's pressuring full court. She's clapping in Bonner's face after every miss. She's letting her know, if you're not going to show up, then I'm going to show out. At one point, with 3 minutes left in the half, Aari strips Bonner clean at mid-court, just takes the ball out of her hands like it was a toy, sprints to the other end, hits a transition 3, and then stares her down like, this is what happens when you mail it in. And Bonner? She doesn't even argue the call, doesn't even try to hustle back. She just jogs back down like nothing happened. That was when the crowd officially turned. Boos rained down from the upper deck. People were yelling things like, wake up, Bonner, and you're embarrassing us. And honestly, they weren't wrong. Halftime comes and the Fever are down 12. McDonald already has 17 points and 5 steals. Bonner, 4 points on 2 of 8 shooting, 2 turnovers, 0 impact. The locker room must have been brutal. You would think someone with Bonner's pedigree would come out in the second half and respond, right? At least try to quiet the noise, show some pride, prove that the first half was just an off stretch. But no, she came out even more disengaged, walking through sets, standing in the corner, barely making eye contact with teammates. It was like she had emotionally checked out of the game, and maybe even the team. Meanwhile, Aari kept applying pressure. She wasn't letting up. And why should she? If the star on the opposing team is waving the white flag, you go for the throat. That's exactly what McDonald did.
That DeWanna Bonner had no intentions on returning to the Indiana Fever, and then the news broke today that the Indiana Fever had indeed waived DeWanna Bonner. And here is DB's statement. She said, "I want to sincerely thank the Indiana Fever for the opportunity to be part of the Fever franchise. Despite our shared goals and excitement heading into the season, I felt the fit did not work out, and I appreciate the organization's willingness to grant my request to move on, particularly at this point in my career. I wish the Fever..."
Third quarter, 6 minutes in, McDonald hits Bonner with a step-back 3. Swish. Crowd gasps. Then, next possession, Bonner tries to post her up again, but Aari digs in, forces a travel, and screams, "Clamp season," as the ref signals the turnover. That moment went viral within minutes. Social media exploded. Clips hit TikTok, ESPN, Twitter, you name it. Fans couldn't believe it. A 5'6" guard outworking and outclassing one of the tallest veterans in the game. It was poetic justice. The old guard getting schooled by the new. By the time the fourth quarter rolled around, the game was over. Not by the score, although the Fever were down by nearly 20, but by morale. Indiana had given up. Their leader had gone silent. The bench looked defeated. And Aari, she was still barking, still sprinting, still letting Bonner know, this is what happens when you don't respect the game. Final buzzer sounds. Mercury win by 23. Aari finishes with 29 points, 7 steals, 6 assists, and a chip on her shoulder the size of the Empire State Building. Bonner? She doesn't stick around to shake hands, walks off before the teams even finish the post-game huddle. Reporters say she left the arena without talking to media. No eye contact, no accountability. And look, everyone has a bad night, even legends. But this didn't feel like a bad night. This felt like someone who didn't want to be there. Someone who had mentally moved on. And in a league that's growing faster than ever, where young talent is hungry and the margin for error is razor thin, that kind of energy is contagious, and not in a good way.
Going on. This didn't seem like something where there was maybe something going on with her family. It didn't seem like she was sick or injured. She just simply stepped away from the team and nobody really knew why, but it wasn't looking good. And all of our suspicions were proven true with this news. And I honestly think across the board, this situation was not handled well. Just a couple days ago, Coach Stephanie White was saying that she was in contact with DB and that they were just taking it day by day. And then the very next day, when she was once again asked about DB, she said, well, we haven't really.
Fever fans deserve better. The locker room deserves better. Players like Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell, who give 110% every night, deserve better. Because when your star doesn't show up, it sends a message. And last night, that message was loud and clear. This ain't it. Aari McDonald proved something last night. Not just that she can hang with the best, we already knew that, but that she can lead, ignite, and dismantle anyone who takes the game for granted. She played like every possession was her last, like she had something to prove, like the WNBA still had doubters and she was going to shut every single one of them up. And DeWanna Bonner? She has some soul searching to do. Because if you're going to wear the jersey, if you're going to take that paycheck, if you're going to be called a leader, then lead. Otherwise, step aside and let the next generation take over. Because trust me, they're ready. This wasn't just a game. This was a shift, a changing of the guard, a reminder that no one is safe if you're not giving it your all. Legends fall, new stars rise, and last night, Aari McDonald rose all the way to the top, while DeWanna Bonner slipped quietly into the shadows. It was supposed to be a normal night on the court. The fans came out for the popcorn, the poster dunks, the trash talk, and of course, the stars. But what they got? A front row seat to drama, payback, and the kind of on-court tension you could cut with a knife. Because when DeWanna Bonner thought she could walk into that arena like she hadn't just turned her back on her former squad, she clearly forgot one thing. Aari McDonald was waiting, and she had time.
DeWanna Bonner was waived by the Indiana Fever, but there was a notice that was put out to other teams to not claim DeWanna Bonner because she prefers to sign with the Mercury. Now, this was so interesting, but
Now, if you've been following the WNBA even casually, you know that DeWanna Bonner has been a league mainstay for over a decade. She's got the resume, multiple all-star appearances, a couple of championships, and that veteran presence you want in your locker room. But sometimes legacy doesn't buy you loyalty. Not when you bounce from a team that had your back, had your heart, for years. Indiana Fever fans, they remember. And they were ready to remind her. Let's rewind a bit. Bonner's decision to leave Indiana? Yeah, it hit different. She didn't just leave quietly. She dipped to chase a title, aligning herself with what looked like a super team blueprint. Now, nobody faults a player for wanting to win. This is professional basketball, not a church league. But the way she left? It was cold. No goodbye post, no heartfelt thank you. Just one day she was rocking the Fever red, and the next, she was all smiles in her new jersey, like the years in Indiana didn't mean a thing. That's why this game? It wasn't just about basketball. This was personal. Indiana fans were locked in. The players, even more so. And Aari McDonald? She turned that betrayal into fuel. Now here's the thing about Aari. She's built different. Underrated, overlooked, but never outworked. She's been that way since college. Remember her run with Arizona? She put the whole tournament on notice. Fast, scrappy, fearless. And in this game, she brought all of that and more. From the opening tip, you could feel the tension. Bonner got the ball early, looked to establish dominance. Quick mid-range jumper, swish. Crowd booed, but she smirked. She thought it was going to be light work. But then Aari checked in.